The Robot Who Made Cupcakes. Once upon a time, in a small, cheerful town nestled between rolling green hills and sparkling blue lakes, there lived a robot named Remy. Remy was different from most robots. While some robots built cars or explored faraway planets, Remy had a very special talent. He loved to bake cupcakes. Remy had shiny silver arms, a round tummy that glowed with soft, warm lights, and a big, friendly face with twinkling eyes. But the most wonderful thing about Remy was his heart, a magical engine powered by kindness and curiosity. He lived in a cozy cottage at the edge of town, surrounded by gardens bursting with flowers and rows of berry bushes. Every morning, Remy would wake up to the song of the robins, stretch his metal arms, and begin his favorite routine. He'd put on his little checkered apron, tie it neatly around his waist, and roll up his sleeves. Then, he'd open his recipe book, a thick, well-loved volume filled with scribbles, doodles, and colourful tabs. With a happy beep, he'd select a new recipe to try. One sunny Monday, Remy had an idea. He wanted to make the most delicious, magical cupcakes anyone had ever tasted. Not just regular cupcakes, but cupcakes that could make people smile, laugh, and share stories together. He wanted to fill the town with joy, one cupcake at a time. Remy marched to his kitchen, his gears whirring with excitement. He gathered his ingredients: fresh flour, creamy butter, golden honey from the bees in his garden, and plump, juicy berries. But Remy wanted to add something extra special: a pinch of laughter, a drop of adventure, and a sprinkle of friendship. Now, being a robot, Remy had some clever tricks. He had a built-in cupcake mixer in his tummy, a frosting sprayer in his right arm, and a tiny oven in his left. He danced around the kitchen, mixing, stirring, and humming a cheerful tune. As the first batch of cupcakes baked, Remy gazed out the window. He saw his friends bustling about: Mrs. Maple watering her sunflowers, little Max riding his bike, and Mr. Jenkins reading the newspaper on his porch. Remy wondered, what if I could share my cupcakes with everyone in town? When the cupcakes were ready, Remy carefully arranged them in a basket. Each cupcake was a tiny work of art, swirls of bright frosting, sparkling sprinkles, and a cherry on top. Remy rolled out into the sunshine, heading toward the heart of the town. First, he stopped by Mrs. Maple. "Good morning, Mrs. Maple. Would you like to try a magical cupcake?" he chirped. Mrs. Maple's eyes widened in delight. She took a bite, and suddenly she burst out laughing. The cupcake tasted like summer picnics and sunny afternoons. "Remy, this is wonderful!" she exclaimed. Next, Remy visited Max, who was trying to learn a new trick on his bike. Remy handed him a cupcake, and as Max tasted it, he felt a surge of courage and zipped down the street, wind in his hair, giggling all the way. Remy continued, sharing cupcakes with everyone he met. Each cupcake brought a different feeling: bravery, happiness, peacefulness, or a silly urge to dance. News of Remy's magical cupcakes spread quickly. Soon a line of townsfolk wound around the square, all eager for a taste. But as Remy baked more and more cupcakes, he noticed something surprising. The more he gave, the happier he felt. His heart engine glowed brighter and warmer with every smile, every laugh, every thank you. One afternoon, while Remy was frosting another batch, he heard a gentle knock on the door. It was a little girl named Sophie, holding a tiny kitten. Sophie looked sad. "Remy," she said softly, "my kitten is sick, and I don't know what to do." Remy knelt down and offered Sophie a cupcake with a swirl of pink frosting and a sprinkle of hope. Sophie smiled for the first time that day. As she nibbled the cupcake, an idea popped into her mind. "Maybe I can make a cozy bed for my kitten and sing her a song." Remy smiled, his eyes twinkling. "Cupcakes can't fix everything, but they can help us find the courage and kindness we need." Sophie hugged Remy, and together they cared for the kitten. Soon, the kitten began to purr, and Sophie's tears turned to laughter. As days passed, Remy's kitchen became the heart of the town. Everyone gathered there, old and young, shy and bold. They came not just for the cupcakes, but to share stories, make friends, and help one another. Remy listened to their tales, learned new recipes, and sometimes he even made mistakes. Sometimes the cupcakes were too salty or the frosting too runny. But his friends always encouraged him to try again. One night, as Remy sat by his window, gazing up at the stars, he wondered what made his cupcakes truly magical. Was it the perfect mix of ingredients? The secret sprinkle of adventure? Or maybe, just maybe, it was the love and kindness he poured into every batch. Remy decided to write a new recipe in his book, a recipe for happiness. It went like this. Start with a cup of kindness. Add a spoonful of laughter. Mix in a handful of adventure. Stir well with friendship. Bake in a warm heart. Share with everyone you meet. And so, Remy continued to bake, filling the town with sweetness and joy. His cupcakes became famous far and wide, not because they were perfect, but because they brought people together and made the world a little brighter, one bite at a time. From that day on, whenever someone in town felt lonely, worried, or sad, they knew just where to go. Remy would greet them with a warm smile, a listening ear, and a magical cupcake, fresh from the oven and made with love. And so, the robot who made cupcakes became the heart of his community, reminding everyone that sometimes the sweetest things in life are the ones we share. But the story of Remy, the cupcake baking robot, doesn't end there. Because Remy's adventures were just beginning. One crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves fluttered down from the trees, Remy received a mysterious letter in the mail. The envelope was made of shiny blue paper, and inside was a note written in sparkling silver ink. Dear Remy, your cupcakes have brought so much joy to our town. But did you know there are towns far away that could use a little magic too? If you're willing, we invite you to the Great Cupcake Festival in Sugarville, where bakers from all around the world come to share their treats and their stories. With sweet wishes, Mayor Sugarplum. Remy's heart engine whirred with excitement. He'd never travelled so far before. He packed his apron, his recipe book, and a box of his favourite cupcakes. The townsfolk gathered to wish him luck, waving and cheering as Remy set off down the winding road to Sugarville. The journey was an adventure in itself. Remy rolled through forests where squirrels chattered in the branches, across fields where butterflies danced, and over hills where the wind whispered secrets. Along the way, he met all sorts of creatures: a wise old owl who loved blueberry muffins, a fox with a sweet tooth for caramel, and a family of rabbits who offered him a carrot cake recipe. Finally, Remy arrived in Sugarville, a bustling town filled with the scent of cinnamon and chocolate. Booths lined the streets, each one decorated with colourful banners and towers of cupcakes, cookies, and pies. Bakers from every corner of the world smiled and waved, eager to share their creations. Remy set up his booth and placed his cupcakes on display. He was a little nervous. There were so many amazing bakers with fancy tools and secret ingredients. But Remy remembered his recipe for happiness and decided to do what he did best: bake with love and kindness. People flocked to Remy's booth, curious about the robot with the glowing heart and the cheerful smile. When they tasted his cupcakes, their eyes lit up. They laughed, danced, and shared stories from their own hometowns. Soon, Remy made friends with bakers from all over: a panda who made pistachio cupcakes, a dragon who loved spicy cinnamon rolls, and a little girl named Mia who dreamed of opening her own bakery one day. During the festival, there was a big contest to find the most magical cupcake. Judges tasted treats from every booth, searching for something truly special. When they arrived at Remy's booth, he offered them his newest creation, the friendship cupcake, made with ingredients from all his new friends. There was honey from the rabbits, cinnamon from the dragon, pistachios from the panda, and a swirl of adventure from Remy's own recipe. The judges took a bite, and suddenly, the whole town was filled with laughter, music, and the warm glow of happiness. It wasn't just the taste. It was the feeling that everyone was welcome, everyone was important, and everyone had something to share. Remy didn't win first prize, but he won something even better, the hearts of everyone at the festival. When it was time to leave, his new friends hugged him and promised to visit his town someday. Remy's heart engine glowed brighter than ever. On the way home, Remy thought about all the wonderful people he had met, the stories he had heard, and the new recipes he had learned. He realized that the best part of baking wasn't the cupcakes themselves, but the friends he made and the joy he shared. Back in his cozy cottage, Remy added a new page to his recipe book, the Friendship Cupcake. It read, "Gather ingredients from your friends. Mix with kindness and curiosity. Bake with care and share with a smile. Enjoy together." And so, Remy's kitchen became even busier. Visitors arrived from near and far, eager to taste his magical cupcakes and tell their own stories. Remy welcomed them all, listening, laughing, and learning from every new friend. As the seasons changed, Remy's cupcake adventures continued. In winter, he made snowflake cupcakes with sparkling sugar and warm spices. In spring, he baked flower-shaped treats filled with berry jam. In summer, he created ice cream cupcakes that melted in your mouth. And in autumn, he made pumpkin cupcakes with cinnamon cream. But no matter the season, the most important ingredient was always the same: love. Sometimes, Remy wondered if he was just a robot or something more. He asked his friends, "What makes someone special?" Mrs. Maple said, "It's your kindness, Remy." Max said, "It's your courage to try new things." Sophie said, "It's the way you make us all feel at home." Remy realized that everyone had something special inside them, whether they were a robot, a baker, or a little girl with a kitten. And when they shared their gifts, the world became a sweeter, happier place. So the next time you see a robot, remember Remy, the robot who made cupcakes. Maybe you'll find that magic can be baked, shared and spread, one sweet story at a time. As the stars twinkle above and the world grows quiet, remember this: you too can sprinkle a little kindness wherever you go. Whether you bake cupcakes, tell stories, or simply share a smile, you have the power to make someone's day a little brighter. And just like Remy, you might discover that the sweetest adventures begin with a warm heart and an open hand. The end, or perhaps just the beginning of your own cupcake adventure.